Right, well, just when I thought things had gone quiet, I've been given a 99 plate IS200, which needs some welding doing to it. In typical fashion, it's the arches on these, as you can see there. It's already had some work done on the inside. Doesn't look the greatest, but we'll see what we've got to work with there. I've just had a look underneath, and unfortunately my hand went through there, so it's a goner. It's falling out, and the other side's apparently the same. So let's go and have a look at this. Yeah, just as bad, if not worse, on this side. This will crumble off, no doubt. Here we go, falling apart. So gonna have to clean all this up soon. Get at it with the welder, see what we can do. I'd prefer if it had a new replacement bit put on, but by the looks of things that's filler from somebody's previous job. More to the point, we were only supposed to be doing the welding on this, and 3 days prior to the customer dropping it off, he goes, "Oh, the engine's made a funny noise, bit of a screeching noise, and it's conked out on me." He's not long had the cambelt done at a high street place, and I think something's gone wrong now. Hans, would you mind spinning the ignition for me? Keys there on the bench, look. So by the sounds of things, it's got absolutely no compression. The cam's turning, but I think there's a lot of damage. Cheers, mate. So that's turning freely. It sounds like the valves are hitting the pistons. Before we crack on with the welding, I need to take the head off this. So just when I thought I'd escape from doing cylinder heads, it turns out I've got a lumber with a 6-cylinder head to rebuild, if not replace. I think the plan is to get the head off this and see what kind of condition the pistons are in, as to whether they're serviceable. If they're not, then probably just pull the engine out and replace the engine complete, because it's the quickest and easiest option for the customer. Stay tuned, speak to you in a bit. So just putting in the last few bits of radiator out. I've disconnected the fan loom. I've taken off the lower coolant pipe, top coolant pipe, and disconnected the sensor at the bottom. There's 2 brackets left at the top, and with a little bit of luck, should be able to just pull the radiator out complete, with the fans and the cowling still attached. Just like that. Got the radiator out. I've got all the belts off. I've got the crank pulley off, and just about to take the lower cam cover off. And with a bit of luck, we might be able to find out what went wrong. Oh, something dropped out there. Not too sure what that was, but I think I can see the problem here. So if I can just have my phone from up, straight away I can see something around the back of this idler. Not too sure what it is. Let's see if we can pull it out. Okay, that's a bit of rubber seal. Perhaps it's come off the back of the cam cover. I'd say that's very likely. There's a little bit of seal there. There's also another chunk of it sitting there, which fell out. That's on the floor now. That's not something that would obviously cause the belt to slip the way it has. I'd have expected that just to get chewed up straight away, given, you know, a rock, paper, scissors kind of thing. That's a lot softer than this material. So I'm going to take the tension off this belt now. We'll see if we've got any seized pulleys or anything like that that could be contributing towards this, and I'm just going to have a look what fell out as well. So what was it? There we go. There's another chunk of cover. So it's possible. Squeezing that is a bit firm, and I think the rest of the cover's in the back of the car. I took that off when the vehicle arrived. Yeah, there we go. That's missing half of it. Well, let's stay tuned. We've got to start pulling this belt off now, and let's see if we've got any tensioners that have seized up. I think that sounds a lot more likely, given the fact that you've got this sort of shredded rubber everywhere, which it was stuck on the belt. If you can see it very well in the video. No, not at all. But there we go, you can see plenty of it on the water pump. So I'd like to know what's caused that. Personally, I think something's seized up. See you in a bit. Right, well, I've got the cam belt off and tensioners off. They're over here on a bench, and nothing wrong with them, to be honest. They're turning freely, as is this one. So I am almost certain that this engine failure, if it weren't for better words, is down to somebody's incompetence when fitting the cam belt covers. They've left the rubber seal on the back of it hanging off on the top cover, and by the looks of things, it's got chewed up and wound around with the cam belt. I'd say, going back on earlier, that actually there's more than enough here for it to cause substantial damage when it gets wound up. So gonna wait for the customer to turn up. Let's see what we're gonna do next. I think our next approach is to take the cylinder head off and see what damage we've got to the pistons, if we can't see that by peering through a spark plug. So I'm going to start with stripping that down now. There's quite a bit to do, but fortunately I have no engine mounts, so it frees up a little bit of time. You don't waste a lot of time, certainly like that VW the other day, where everything involves removing this engine mount, and then the engine mount's sitting in your way. But no, we don't have any of that on this, only the odd pipe here and there where customers started to fit his supercharger kit. So yeah, I'm going to crack on with that, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, well, I got the cylinder head off James's Lexus, as confirmed. It's a bit knackered, so those little bits of rubber that we found earlier have definitely gone through the cam belt, and unfortunately they've bent all of the exhaust valves. They've all made contact with the pistons. Not so sure about the inlet, but if we're going to do if we're worrying about the exhaust valves, I think the best option here is just to whack another head on it. There's a few little marks on the pistons. Now, I think they might polish out with a Dremel, but I'll go do a bit of research tonight, see if we can get away with that, and how thick these pistons are. So that's that really. Customer's going to order a replacement cylinder head, and I think we'll have that skimmed before it goes on. We won't need to worry about sinking the valves back into the head or anything, because on this head everything's recessed anyway, so it can go straight for a skim, built up in one. Speak to you in a bit, guys.